Rare Voice is the phone in my home.
It's the one I can afford.
Rare Voice gives me lower LD.
And you know it gives me more.
I get local calls for free, and I can win big prizes too. Rare Voice makes my family rejoice. Rare Voice is the choice for me.
Your new home phone is here. Sign up for Rev Voice today, and you can win great weekly prizes and a brand new Honda CR-V from Nassau Motor Company. Get Rev Voice home phone for as low as $14.99 a month. Call us at 601-8992 or visit us online at cablebahamas.com/RevVoice. Rejoice this Christmas with Rev Voice.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned in to MB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, the Prime Minister meets with pastors who support the legalization of numbers. We'll tell you what they talked about. Police crack a major armed robbery ring, plus a disabled little girl gets a medical gift just in time for Christmas. We've got those stories and so much more coming up. I'm Paige McCartney, and MB12 starts right now. Welcome once again to MB12. We now know how many questions will appear on the ballot in next month's gambling referendum. Prime Minister Perry Christie initially announced that just one question would be put forth, but changed his mind after he pushed back the referendum date and decided to include the question of a national lottery after all. The first group to learn more details of the upcoming referendum is made up of 4 pastors who have recently pushed for the legalization of web shops. Bonnie Toot reports.
After much consideration, government has decided to put 2 questions to voters in the January 28th gambling referendum. Prime Minister Christie has said on numerous occasions that 1 or 2 questions would appear on the ballot. However, he wanted to discuss the matter with his cabinet colleagues and members of the religious community before making a decision. Well, he reportedly shared the questions with 4 prominent pastors this morning during a meeting at the office of the Prime Minister.
We are privileged to be the first that he has officially given some indication on the referendum. And so we're blessed. We are 4 blessed men for Christmas. There will be 2 questions on the referendum, and all will be dealing with the position of the regulation of the web shop gaming and lottery.
The group comprised of Reverend Philip McPhee of Mount Calvary Baptist Church, Bishop Simeon Hall of New Covenant Baptist Church, Reverend Sheldon Higgs of New Lively Hope Baptist Church, and Bishop Gregory Minnis of New Jerusalem Baptist Church. They would not reveal the questions, but said they expected them to be made public hours after their meeting. Christian Council President Reverend Ranford Patterson was not present. However, Bishop Hall says that was up to him.
Please know that we are not against or antagonistic to the established Christian Council. We're not. We are part of it. But we believe, first of all, that a referendum should be held. The Bahamian people should have a right to say yes or no.
We are not governed by any particular grouping. We are part of groupings. But every pastor is his own king, and we stand on our own 2 feet to disseminate what we need to say in terms of our concern.
On Tuesday, McPhee released a statement on behalf of a group of pastors who feel web shops should be legalized and taxed. It conflicts with the views of the Christian Council, which feels no form of gambling should be allowed in the Bahamas. Bishop Hall and Reverend McPhee admit they have been criticized for their recent comments, but insist they do not have a hidden agenda.
The criticisms are minuscule when compared to the commendations. They're far ahead. And see, what I'm calling for is a debate. Let's talk. You say no, I say yes. Let's talk about that. We don't have to be antagonistic or throw stones at anybody.
And so we will certainly have criticism, but we are prepared to face it and just stand on it, because we're not hiding. If you notice our position,
It's public.
we have not hidden anything that we are doing.
During the meeting, pastors stressed the need for Bahamians to be educated on gambling before the referendum, for more people to benefit from the numbers business if regularized, and for the church to play a major role in the decision-making process. At the end of the day, religious leaders say they're not just concerned about their members, but all Bahamians. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonique Tude.
While coordinators of the Vote Yes campaign are calling for more clarity ahead of next month's gambling referendum, the group, made up of business persons and consultants from the private sector, launched an aggressive advertising campaign weeks ago, holding events and erecting billboards touting the benefits of web shops. However, campaign coordinator Ron Roll and lead spokesperson Teresa Moxie Ingram say knowing the referendum questions beforehand would have made their jobs a little easier.
I think it should have been released, but again, like Teresa Moxie Ingram said, we have to wait for the government to do so.
I would have wished for a smoother process. I think all of us would have, because that would have made our task a little bit easier. But it is what it is, you know. And certainly, I know from a political standpoint, both Ron and myself are aware that no matter what's happening, you still got to get a basic ground campaign organized, and it can't go too far outside of a particular framework anyway. So, you know, we deal with what we have.
Moxie Ingram is a former Free National Movement cabinet minister, and Roll is a longtime supporter of the Progressive Liberal Party. F&M leaders have encouraged voters to reject the referendum because of a lack of clarity. However, consultant for the Vote Yes campaign, Paul Major, says he feels that's just foolhardy.
I'd just like to comment on this whole political divergence on this subject. To me, that's foolhardy, because it was under the previous administration that we were invited to gather information from which I understand legislation and regulations were written. So I really don't understand the new point of view now that, well, something's wrong with this. And it was really just to regulate the numbers industry. So I don't know where this newfound thinking comes from, but be it as it may, we haven't seen any of the regulations from the previous government or this government, but I know that they existed before.
Moxie Ingram said she doesn't feel the F&M has taken a definitive position against the referendum, but rather has been agitating for more information. While police have arrested 3 members of an alleged armed robbery ring, authorities say they lured unsuspecting victims out of their vehicles, then robbed them. Acting on information, officers of the Central Detective Unit arrested the 3 suspects on Wednesday. Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade says police have also recovered a number of stolen items found in their possession.
You would have heard, over several days now, about robberies where persons have been bumped from behind, upon stopping to check their vehicles, were subsequently robbed of personal effects and, of course, vehicles. Several of those cases across New Providence. We have arrested, to date, 3 young men, and we have recovered 3 vehicles and any number of other personal items that have been taken in robberies.
Greenslade said these arrests were made as a result of excellent textbook police work.
I've continued to say how extremely pleased I am as Commissioner for the tremendous support that we continue to receive from members of the public. And I just couldn't say sufficient about the hard-working men and women of the Royal Bahamas Police Force who continue to do really, really good work for us on the front lines. I'm very, very pleased with the work that is being done by the Central Detective Unit under the leadership of Superintendent Paul Roll. And I believe when you hear from us again, we'll be telling you of the dates that we will be bringing charges.
Well, 3 people are in hospital tonight following 2 separate stabbing incidents. In the first case, a 17-year-old boy and girl were attacked by a group of men, and both were stabbed multiple times. This was around 9:15 last night in the Sapodilla Boulevard area. Both were taken to hospital and are said to be in stable condition. 4 men ranging in age from 17 to 30 are now being questioned by police in relation to this incident. And at around the same time that was happening, a 32-year-old man was in the Faith Avenue area when he got into an altercation with a group of men. He ended up being stabbed in the arm and right side of his body. He's also in hospital in stable condition.